Hi, welcome to Midweek Camera Roll number 7. I didn't do one last week, I think mostly because I didn't go out with my camera. That's what you got to do, eh? So I have been out with my camera since getting back from Scandinavia, and so I want to walk you through. You see, I've got the images. I've also got my cat lounging on the desk. It's like she hasn't left my side since I got back from my trip. Maybe she felt abandoned. She might have abandoned, what do they call them? Abandoned issues. Anyway, what did I do for this week? I've got a video coming out on Sunday, maybe Saturday, because last Friday I went out and did a walk, did some photography, and I've got a few straggly images from that walk, so I'll show them. I also, on Sunday, went to Lydden Hill, because there was more racing. It was the Five Nations Rallycross with the fireworks display over 2 days. I didn't do a video, didn't do a vlog, but I did take some images, mostly because I just wanted to go out with the camera and not have to think, about doing videos. So it was a couple of shots of the racing cars, but for the most part, into the paddocks and do some street photography. And then Sunday, Georgia and I went down to the Coastal Path in Folkestone. I'll put an image of it here. Now, she had said to me, can I go out with you, Grandpa, and do a few more images for my A-levels? She's got her mocks coming up. And so it's just as many images as she can for the subject that she has, which is things like landscapes and things that are not landscapes. See that video here? Which we did last year, was it? Early this year. So I got a couple of images of that, and also silhouettes. She needed more silhouettes. So, yeah, I've got a few interesting images. Perhaps there's a few blurred ones as well. There's always blurred ones, but I like getting out with the camera. So, let's start. Let's have a look at these images. So yeah, so the first, what have I got here? The first 7 images are from when I was out doing a walk with the camera, doing that other vlog. So image number 1, just a landscape scene, although not particularly landscape-ish. But what I saw here was the kind of the linear lines, so the trees from the top right coming down, and then the meadow, the sort of reaching down into a valley. So I could see some cross lines, and I thought, hey, that's good. Autumn is not hitting. It's going to be one of those things, you can see touches of orange around there, but it's going to be one of those things where we'll get a sudden storm, bush, all the leaves will be gone. So you've got to catch it when you can. That's what I'm thinking. There are a couple of lone trees, although not quite lone. When I say lone tree, I'm expecting one tree on a horizon somewhere, that kind of thing. But I thought, yeah, let's capture the tree. It's rather nice. And then taking it from another angle, and we've got another tree on the right. And can you see how green that is? I mean, we're in November now. So there's practically 6 weeks left of maybe 7 weeks of autumn. It's just not happening, is it? I was watching a video recently with Henry Turner, and he was doing a walk around, I think with his OM5, and he captured a leaf shot. And so these things always stick in my mind, it's like you're walking around, you're taking vast landscape images, but sometimes you need to look closely, so you're walking past some bushes or something, and there's a leaf. And again, I saw something else, and we get our inspiration from many places. And there was a photographer doing things called seeing the unseen. And I think it's like, as a photographer, with your photographer eye, it's very easy to spy a subject and then only focus on that subject, when in fact you could zoom right in, and just take a tiny little aspect. So I thought, yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to do here with the leaf. And so that vibe on my mind. Hello, cat. Yeah, you're looking at me talking to camera, aren't you? So just brushing against these kind of hedges and these, I don't even know what that is. Drop me a comment if you know. It looks like dandelions, doesn't it? You know, the little parachute things that come off a dandelion. I don't know what it is, but it made for a nice picture with the, you know, shallow depth of field. This one's a bit blurred, but hey, you know, I was trying to get the thistles. Just couldn't get the focus right. But I captured the image anyway. And then walking back home, I spied this garden gate. I think it goes to the old vicarage. It's a shame that there's the blue padlock, because it takes away the aesthetic look of a country gate, doesn't it, with the manor house in the background. A gate that's not used, because I think they drive their cars up the side. So then I was down at Lydden Hill. That was on Sunday. I'm sat here. I was doing some editing of my Norway videos, and I could hear the racing. And I'd heard the racing the day before, and I thought, surely they're not still racing on Sunday. Looked at the website. It was a 2-day event. So I thought, let's get down there, just take some images. As I said earlier, I didn't want to do the vlogging. So parked up on the side of the race circuit. First of all, saw this guy with his magnificent lens. What are we talking here? Is that a 500mm? Is that an 800mm? Is he trying to compensate for something? Size does matter. And I'm thinking, I've got my 18-200. I'm using the Tamron. I'm getting to grips with it. And I can zoom in. And I know that I can crop as well once I've taken an image. So, you know, I've taken this shot from my car. I'm pointing through the windscreen of the car. But I've zoomed in and then I've cropped. So if he's using such a huge lens, what does that offer him in terms of the shot that he's taking? Is he waiting for the car to come round the bend and he's going to zoom right into the driver? It's an odd one, that. Nonetheless, I captured a picture of him. That's what we were looking at. The Minis and the, is it a Ford Focus, maybe? A Ford Fiesta, maybe. I didn't take many shots of cars. I kind of wasn't in the vibe for that. I wanted to go into the paddock, as I said. But I saw this old Volvo racing round. I took a couple of shots, but this one's my favourite because you can see the front near side wheel has actually lifted, if you look closely. So he's actually pulling it right round the bend. What a, you know, for a big car like that. Everyone else is driving Minis and things like that. This guy's in a Volvo. What would that be? A 744 or a 244? Can't even remember the Volvo marks now. But yeah, I've got a appropriate aperture speed. Wheels are spinning. Black background is blurred, and the car's pretty sharp. So then I'm walking into the paddocks and, you know, you get to be this close to the cars. It's fantastic, as well as the people and the garages. And that's kind of why I like walking around, because you're in amongst the racers. So you get to be with the cars, but you also get to be with the people. Little Ford Escort Mark II there. And there's another Ford Escort Mark II. So this is just at the start. You know, they kind of all line up. And then the guy with the clipboard says, right, you go, you go, you go. And they all drive out onto the circuit. So then I started taking some pictures of people. I'm going to make them all black and white apart from this one. I thought this is pretty nifty. The guy is, I think he's attaching his seatbelt for him. But he might be whispering in his ear, good luck, mate, you'll be fine. Or, you know, if they're more than just friends, all right, darling, I'll be here when you get back. Because we live in that modern society, don't we? I thought it was a pretty nifty shot, though. And that's the beauty of doing kind of street photography that I enjoy doing. It's the reportage. It's almost paparazzi style, isn't it? You're catching people unaware that you're taking a picture of them. That's kind of what I like in street photography. I don't want anybody posing for me. So I'm putting words in her mouth here. You know, she's on the phone. I'm on the blower. Yeah, can you send Keith down? We've got a problem here. This driver is not obeying. He won't go past the white line. I don't know. You put words in their mouth, don't you? But nice shot. Everything else is blurred apart from her. Good depth of field there. I'm walking around, and this is kind of what I like to do. We see them at work. So the guy's got his laptop. The guy's checking his tyre pressures, I think. He's got a tyre pressure valve thing there. And it's the young kid as well. And I'm thinking, things that you do on a weekend when you're not at school or something. You hang out with your uncle or your dad at the race circuit. Must be a great experience for him. A couple of old boys having a chat over their Mini. Yeah, just a kind of a random shot, but I like capturing this kind of thing, If anyone can fix it, I can fix it. I need a rod this big. The crankshaft. It's great. A couple of guys talking over their engine. So obviously not just taking pictures of the guys doing the work, but also the public walking around. So obviously these two guys have turned up on their motorcycles and they're taking a walk around, carrying their helmets. Don't mess with me. That's what the guy on the left is saying. And he's probably as gentle as a lamb. This I thought was great. It's slightly blurred, but, get me the spare tyres. All right, I'll go and get them. Girl in the background having a sly cigarette while she's on her phone. And the old boy pushing on the sack barrow, the spare tyres. People in action. Talking of this, I think this is where he was taking the tyres. So, he's this guy's changing the wheels on his rally mini. Meaty beasts, those things, aren't they? Got all those fans in the back to act as a coolant. Do you think that draws the air out from inside the cockpit? She's looking a bit bored. But these are, I've made this black and white, but these are bright orange uniforms, and they obviously work as part of the marshalling within Lydden Hill. I think what got me here is that it's not just men, it's not just old men, it's not just young men, but it's also women as well. Girls and women are interested in motorsport. I think I got a couple of shots of these two. Here we've got a couple of guys randomly chatting about something. This wasn't bad in colour actually, because of the yellow lights in the background. I'll put the unedited colour image now, and you can see what I was talking about. And this is back as black and white. Something interesting, I think, about black and white, it just takes me back to when you might be looking at an article in a newspaper and everything was black and white when I was growing up. And even when I was a young man working at a newsagent before they started bringing colour into newspapers. So you would always, every image you'd see would be black and white. So maybe my eyes are more tuned into it or accustomed to it. What caption here? I almost don't want to say anything and leave you to comment, but they're obviously laughing at the guy putting his helmet on. What do you think they're saying? Your helmet says Bell. Are you a bell end? Does it say Bell? I don't think it does. No. But you can get those Bell helmets, can't you? Put your comment in the below. What are these two guys saying to the guy putting his helmet on? So another racer about to start, and I don't know if that's a marshal. She had a yellow high-vis jacket on, and they may be a couple, and her husband's about to go on the race in his TR7. You be careful out there, darling. Don't want you knocking into the other drivers. Yeah, capture it. Just there. Here we go. Here are the two girls again. Not that I'm stalking or anything. They're just kind of photogenic. Slightly blurred, but there you go. This one I thought was interesting because the little guy in the bright orange jacket in the foreground, he didn't strike me as a man of authority, just like a volunteer or something. We've got a scrutineer on the left and we've got the guy on the right. The guy eating, I think he's eating. I've cut him off there, but he was eating. When you're doing acting, there's a thing called character status. So if you're a bit part player, or you're a day player, they call it, and you're called in, we need you to come and do some acting just for a day. This is your part. Here are your lines. Learn them. Turn up on the day. Do your acting. One of the important things you need to ask if you're acting opposite somebody or several people, what is my character status? And that is to say, am I superior to the people I'm playing opposite, or am I inferior? There's a very famous sketch with John Cleese and the two Ronnies, and I know my place. Very quick clip here.
I look down on him because I am upper class. I look up to him because he is upper class. But I look down on him because he is lower class. I know my place.
So basically what it's saying is everybody has a level, and I might go, say I was the guy on the right, I might be the boss of this place. So I'm looking down at my subordinates. Whereas the guy in the middle is kind of just a lackey. So, yes, sir. Oh, yeah, I was doing my bit. Yeah. And I'm seeing character status here. The guy on the right is almost, looks to me like he's being dismissive of the guy on the left. Look, you're talking too much. Can you just be quiet? I'm kind of tired of this now. So what I think I've caught here is character status. That's what I'm looking at. You see so much. It's not just taking a picture, is it? It's actually trying to tell a story. So then Georgia and I went down to the Folkestone Coastal Path. It's just below the Leas Cliff Hall. It's beyond the harbour arm, but it's where you have all the beach huts and everything. So it really was just a case of, if we spy anything, let's take a picture. So I've got the groin marker with the sea just all by itself sitting out there. I thought, that's a nice picture with the waves kind of rolling over. It wasn't a busy sea. And then we're walking just a little long, and I'm kind of trying to get some aspect going on, but I'm already 2 meters above the shingle because I'm standing on the edge, but I'm kind of leaning over so that I can catch the curve of the leading line taking me to the breaker, and they've got these rocks in the foreground. We try and capture what we can, and see the composition when we take the shot. Just a quick pano of that whole scene. Folkestone is the creative arts, so even here they've tried to make something of the bland shingle beach. So they've put this circular stone circle thing, a couple of rocks scattered about. I don't know what its purpose is. I don't know why they've done that. Does it look arty? I don't know. It certainly doesn't look natural, does it? Talking of arty, how about these beach huts? It's on a tiered platforms. So you've got 8 beach huts here, all in their fancy colours, blues and pinks and purples and things. With the path going up, I tried to just get it, linear with lines. We passed this, and they're not beach huts. This is actually art. There's a plaque on the bottom right. I can't remember what it's called, but I think it's something like 18 holes. So they've obviously used the mini golf, what do you call them? Tracks, path, pitches. They've used all of them to create these huts. Interesting. Cat's going out. Watch out. Gonna get up there. Peace at last. Georgia had done this image on the last shot we did together, where she took this picture of a window, and it had like painted out windows and stuff. And then she put a little figure, mountaineer, with a guy hiking. So I said to her, well, look, here's another one. This is abstract, straight on with the wall. What we can do is we can take all these silhouetted images of all the people we've been taking pictures of. So I took these random shots of people on bikes, people walking, that kind of thing. So then I thought, let's superimpose each one of them. So in post-processing, anchored around, snipped them out, plopped them onto this clean image, and adjusted the exposure compensation and the contrast to make the little images black and white. And I get this. And I call it recreation. Or is it abstract recreation? Or is it walk the path well trodden, or tread the worn path. Just being arty, that's all. So again, all of those images of the black and white silhouettes are images I took that very day of people on their bikes, people walking their dogs. And in fact, here is one of those. So it's a bit blurred, but I wasn't particularly worried because I knew I was going to use it as a composite in that previous image and just kind of lose all the exposure and the contrast and just have them as silhouettes. Kind of worked. We saw a raven. Normally you get gulls, don't you, down by the coast? But for whatever reason, we got a raven. Is it a raven or a crow? Picture of wildlife. Trying to do some abstract photography. We're at the beach huts, and rather than take a picture of beach huts or through the, the kind of the, you know what I'm talking about, this image. That's a blurred one, I couldn't get it, but it's that always taking the big picture. Well, how about let's get right in? So I thought, yeah, I love the rust going down the woodwork. There weren't many people using their beach huts, but this couple were. They've obviously been in the water. You can't see it, but on the right there's a towel hanging, and she's in one of those big coats, where they come out of the water and then they put the big coats on to keep warm, having their cup of tea and not talking to each other. I'm on my phone, you're on your... They might be playing a word game with each other. Or they're just on social media. That is the way of the world these days. I'm sure I'm going to do a video of street photography of people just on their phones. It will not be hard to find someone. We're walking past this railing, and this is, again, I've got something wrong with my ear. It's suddenly playing up. I hope I'm not getting an ear infection. We saw this railing, which obviously is concrete steps going down onto the shingle beach. And I thought, okay, this reminds me, there's that famous painting, isn't there, or drawing of the staircase that's going up, and then when you go up the next tier, it's actually going down. It's one of those kind of optical illusion things. So I took that because of the optical illusion, but then I thought, see the unseen. What is it? See the unseen in the scene. Let's crop in. So I did. Bars everywhere. Which one's going up? Which one's going down? I didn't get it, but that's what I was thinking. So then, having left the beachfront, we're walking back through the coastal park, which is below the Leas Cliff in Folkestone. And I don't think I've ever seen this before, but it's a whole series of grotto caves. And actually you can see the footpath going up because it's got the railing, so it zigzags up. But as you zigzag up all the way to the top, which is where the bandstand is, you can walk through these kind of grottos and caves. And I thought, wow, it's not modern. That's obviously from the Victorian era. Can you imagine the Victorians taking a turn with their parasols and top hats? I should superimpose an image of them there. Eh? That is the Leas Cliff Hall, which is the theatre in Folkestone. So I'm walking underneath it, and I think what got me was all the lines, all the RSJs supporting the roof. It's all very fragile, isn't it? When they design these things, I'm wondering, do they contemplate landslides or landslips? Imagine that heavy rain and all that mud that these supports are on starts subsiding. That whole thing's coming down, isn't it? I don't want to go to the theatre in Folkestone. Not on a rainy day anyway. As we're walking through, we saw these trees, and they're all leaning like this. And I said to Georgia, we should take the shot and turn it so the trees are all vertical. And I tried that, but the path, you'd fall off the path. I thought, that is the strangest thing. All the trees are growing, or have grown, and now remain at an angle, almost 45 degrees. This is a picture I took of the girl, because in my mind, I was going to use her as a silhouette when we, on that previous picture. So I did use her as a silhouette, but I kind of like the yellow jacket as well. and the dog. So thought I'd put it in there. Getting near the end, we saw the old toll house, and it was built in 1877, something like that. But it had a door. You've got to take a picture of a door, haven't you? So I did. And then finally, walking through the park, I say finally, yeah, finally, last picture. An autumnal path. How about that? Maybe this could be my only autumnal picture, because I have no plans to go anywhere and do any proper autumn photography. But yeah, not bad, not bad. Got the leaves everywhere. Chestnut trees, leaves are falling, and the path's meandering off, isn't it? So there you go. That was Midweek Camera Roll number 7. I think I've said this before in the previous ones, that I want to try and do it every week, but you know, I won't be out every week taking images. So they may be sporadic. They may appear once every 2 weeks, maybe once every 3 weeks. But if I know I've taken the pictures, I'm going to get out and, I know I'm going to make a video. So yeah, don't forget to drop a comment, especially about the one with the 2 guys. Put in the hat, this one. And I'll see you at the weekend when I release the next video. It's my ear, it's playing up. See you in another video. Bye for now.